Let's stop pretending. You've heard the jokes. You've seen the clips. But most men, and even a lot of women, still don't really understand what squirting actually is, what causes it, or why it's so often misunderstood. Some have experienced it, but don't know how or why it happened. Here's the truth. Female ejaculation is not a fantasy. It's not some trick or show. It's not something made up for entertainment. It's a mix of brain, body, and emotion coming together in complete alignment. If you want to be the man who helps her get to that level, not to impress her, but to build real closeness, you'll need more than just steps and techniques. You'll need real awareness. Today, we're breaking the silence. This is what squirting really is, and 5 natural ways to help her reach that place safely and powerfully. Let's begin with the facts. There are a lot of wrong ideas out there, but the truth is louder than the myths. Squirting, or female ejaculation, is a real thing that happens in the body. It's not just urine, even though it may have small traces of things like urea or creatinine because it comes through the urethra. What's released is a fluid that comes from the Skene's glands, often called the female prostate, located near what people refer to as the G-spot. When a woman is highly aroused and this area is deeply touched, the glands swell up and may release a clear or slightly cloudy fluid. This fluid is actually more like male prostate fluid than urine. So why is there so much confusion? Because unlike male ejaculation, female release isn't always connected to orgasm, and it doesn't always follow a clear path. That's why many women aren't sure if they've done it or not. The fact is, most women have the ability to squirt, but their minds and bodies have been trained to hold back. This could be due to upbringing, shame, culture, or just never being shown how to fully let go. To reach that kind of release, a woman doesn't just need the right touch. She needs to feel safe enough to give up control. That's why technique by itself doesn't work. You could do everything exactly right, follow every guide, and apply the right amount of pressure. But if she's feeling uncomfortable, disconnected, or under pressure to perform, it won't happen. Female ejaculation involves the body, but it's mainly about the brain. It depends on what's called the parasympathetic nervous system, also known as the rest and digest state. Her body has to feel relaxed, unjudged, and in the moment. When that happens, her body doesn't just respond, it opens up. What's released isn't just fluid. It's a mix of built-up emotion, tension, sometimes even old memories. This release can feel emotional, even healing, because it bypasses thought and speaks directly to her nervous system. And that's why many men never witness it. Not because it's so rare, but because they've never made her feel safe enough to allow it. This is not about achieving something. It's about being truly present. If you want to be the one who helps her feel that kind of release, stop trying to make it happen. Start focusing on the process and how she feels. Because what you're really unlocking isn't just liquid. It's a deep kind of emotional freedom. If you think the G-spot is just some magic button you find and push, you've missed the point. It's not a switch. It's more like a system. It's not about how hard you push. It's about how well you listen. The G-spot sits around 5 to 2 inches inside the upper vaginal wall toward the belly side, but it's not one tiny dot. It's an area made of spongy, sensitive tissue around the urethral sponge and Skene's glands. When she's really turned on, this area swells and becomes very responsive to deep, slow, and steady touch. Here's where many men make a mistake. They rush. They push too fast or too rough, thinking more pressure equals more pleasure. But this isn't about speed. It's about rhythm and sensitivity. You have to be tuned in. Let your fingers listen to her body. Notice her breathing, the way she moves, even the little changes in sound and energy. This part of her body reacts best to steady, not sudden, touch. The most common and effective move is a gentle "come here" motion using 1 or 2 fingers curled toward the top wall. But this alone won't work unless the timing is right. You don't go straight there. You start with outer touch, build up the energy, get her mind and body in sync. Only when she feels truly relaxed does deep inner touch feel good, not invasive or forced. When done right, this type of stimulation can feel like a growing pressure, kind of like needing to pee. That's actually normal. It often means she's right at the edge. But if she's been taught to hold back, she might tense up or pull away. That's your moment to slow down, not stop, but reassure her. Keep your movement steady and calm. Let her know she's safe, because the need to stay in control is often the one thing that keeps her from letting go. This is where emotional connection and physical skill meet. This isn't about giving her an orgasm. It's about helping her feel safe enough to release, trusting that you're not there to use her body, but to meet her where she is. That's the difference between just touching someone and truly connecting with them. You can learn every trick, read every guide, and memorize every anatomical fact. But if she doesn't feel safe emotionally, she won't release. That's not just opinion, it's biology. A woman's nervous system decides whether she opens up. If she senses that you're judging her, rushing her, or expecting a specific result, her body will shut down. It's not rejection, it's protection. This is what a lot of men don't understand. Female arousal isn't straightforward. It responds to the moment. Her body doesn't just react to touch, it responds to how she feels with you. She needs to feel truly seen, accepted, and never rushed. That's why a woman might like someone and still not fully let go with them. Because trust isn't built during sex. It's built in all the moments leading up to it. Saying you're safe isn't enough. It has to be in your energy. Do you allow her feelings or try to dismiss them? Do you ask how she feels or assume you know? Do you look at her with kindness or with expectation? These small things tell her whether she can let go, or whether she needs to put on a show. Science tells us that the feeling of safety is what switches on the rest and digest system. That part of the brain needs to be active for deep arousal and release to happen. If she's anxious or tense, her body won't let go. It's not about effort. It's about what her nervous system is doing. If she feels like she's being tested, timed, or expected to perform, her body won't open up. Real men don't push for outcomes. They create spaces. And the man who knows how to slow down, stay present, breathe calmly, and focus on how she feels instead of his ego, that's the man who stays in her memory. Emotional safety isn't weakness. It's strength. Because when a woman feels secure, her body stops guarding and starts expressing. That's when true surrender happens. So if you're really trying to help her feel that release, don't just study technique. Learn how to be patient. Learn how to be tuned in. Learn how to hold space without trying to be the hero, because she's not a task. She's a human being. And when she finally lets go in front of you, it won't just be a physical act, it'll be one of the deepest forms of trust she can give. Most men miss it. Most don't know how to give fully or receive fully. Most get caught up in trying to impress, but intimacy isn't about doing everything perfectly. It's about noticing the little things, the way her breath changes, the way her muscles react, the way her voice softens. These are early signals that something is building inside her. If you notice them and hold steady, you help it grow. If you push too hard, you shut it down. Squirting isn't a button, it's a buildup. It starts as soft waves and small body movement. If you stay calm and steady, the wave gets bigger. But most men get excited and speed up. That sudden pressure breaks the flow. She doesn't need you to go faster. She needs you to stay with her. This is where true skill shows. Boys chase reactions. Grown men read signals. A good lover doesn't wait for instructions. He pays attention. He notices when she starts holding back, when she grips tighter, when her breathing changes. And instead of saying, "Did you come?" he whispers, "You're doing great. Let go when you're ready." Those simple words, spoken with calm energy, are more powerful than any move you could make. They tell her, "I'm here, I see you, I'm not going anywhere." That's what lets her trust the process. Not because she's trying to do something, but because she feels free to feel everything without shame. The signs are always there, but only the men who slow down, stay aware, and care about her more than the outcome will ever see them. And when you do, you don't just see her body release. You see her walls drop. You feel something more real than any show or reaction. If your focus is on making her squirt, you're already off track. That mindset turns connection into performance, and that breaks trust. The deepest intimate moments don't happen because you tried harder. They happen because you slowed down. Her body doesn't respond to pressure. It responds to peace. From a chemical view, slowing down boosts oxytocin, the bond hormone. It calms her brain and builds deeper trust. It tells her she's not being tested. She's being held. That shift in energy changes everything. When you slow things down, you create space for real pleasure to rise. You let her mind catch up to her body. You open a door for emotional release, not just physical movement. That's what leads to experiences like squirting, not pressure, but peace. Every time you pause instead of pushing, you show strength, not force, but inner control. And she can feel that. She feels your energy, and she relaxes. You breathe with her. She opens in ways she didn't even know were possible. Because you're not trying to impress her. You're helping her feel herself fully. This isn't about getting it done. It's about being present from the first kiss to the slow build up to the moments where your touch meets her heart. When your energy says, "I've got time," her body answers with trust. And trust is what allows the biggest releases, not just physical, but emotional and spiritual. So slow down, let go of the idea of making it happen. Focus on connection. Because when you stop needing her to respond a certain way, she finally can. That's not just technique. That's transformation. That's when intimacy becomes art. And that's the difference between someone who touches her and someone who unlocks her. To build on this, let's explore what happens next. How you carry that energy forward into every moment of your relationship and keep that deep connection alive. After such an intense experience, the way you hold her, the way you speak to her, and the small acts of care you offer matter more than ever. When you gently brush her hair back or wrap your arm around her, you're not just comforting her body. You're speaking to her heart. Let her know with soft words and a calm voice that what happened was real, that you honor her courage, and that you cherish the trust she showed you. This follow-through means as much as the build-up, because it tells her that intimacy with you is never a one-off event, but a continuous journey. In the days that follow, keep paying attention to her mood and energy. Ask her how she felt, what surprised her, and what she enjoyed most. Listen more than you speak. When she opens up about her feelings, respond with empathy. Simple acknowledgments like, "I'm glad you told me that," or "I feel closer to you when you share," go a long way. This kind of emotional feedback loop reinforces safety and lets her know her pleasure and her voice both matter. Over time, this creates a bond where physical and emotional intimacy feed each other in a loop of growing trust. Remember that each person's body is different, so patterns will shift. What worked once may feel different later. Stay curious. Keep exploring together. Try new rhythms, gentle changes in pressure or different settings. Maybe a steamy shower, a private corner of your home, or a night away together. Change the environment to refresh excitement, but always maintain the same calm, present energy. Even lighting and music can help her nervous system relax. Soft light, slow music, and a warm room set the stage, but it's your presence that turns those details into a shared, meaningful moment. Also, know that vulnerability goes both ways. Share your feelings with her, what you loved, how you felt when you saw her let go, and why it mattered to you. When you open your heart, you show her that intimacy isn't just about her body, but about both of you connecting as equals. This mutual vulnerability deepens trust and reminds you both that true closeness is a two-way street. It teaches you to give and receive care in equal measure. Over time, this approach transforms the way you see sex and closeness altogether. It becomes less about reaching specific goals and more about experiencing life together. You start to notice small moments, a brush of skin, a shared laugh, that carry the same power as any intense session. You learn that intimacy lives in everyday acts, making her coffee in the morning, checking in during a busy day, or holding hands in the evening. This continuous care keeps the parasympathetic state alive even outside the bedroom. So when you come back together, your nervous systems recognize safety instantly. Finally, keep growing. Read, learn, and talk about intimacy, consent, and pleasure. Share articles, watch educational videos, or even explore workshops together. When you both commit to understanding each other's bodies and minds, you build a partnership rooted in respect and curiosity. And that mindset is what keeps every encounter fresh, profound, and safe enough for her to surrender fully again and again. In the end, unlocking squirting is just one sign of a deeper truth. That when two people move together in trust, patience, and care, they create something far richer than any single act. They craft a space where freedom, vulnerability, and joy flow without effort. And that space, built moment by moment, is the real gift you can offer each other for a lifetime. So let's go even deeper. Let's talk about what happens when this level of connection becomes a regular part of your relationship. Not just something you visit, but something you live inside of. Because when a woman feels truly free in her body, something changes in her. She doesn't just open during intimacy. She opens in her life. She laughs easier. She breathes deeper. She starts walking like she knows she's safe, like she knows she's not carrying the whole world by herself anymore. And you'll see it, not just in the bedroom, but in the way she speaks, in the way she leans into you, in the way her eyes shine differently. Because what you gave her wasn't just pleasure. You gave her rest. Most people don't realize how tired women are, not just physically, but emotionally. Tired of being strong, tired of being misunderstood, tired of hiding parts of themselves just to feel accepted. And when you create a space where she can be fully herself, no masks, no pressure, just presence, something inside her heals. That's why when she lets go in front of you, it's not just her body releasing. It's years of wait, of holding back, of silence, finally finding a voice. And that voice doesn't need to speak in words. It speaks through her breath, her tears, her touch. That's the language of real intimacy. And only a man who slows down enough to hear it will ever understand what a gift it truly is. You may not realize this, but every time you choose presence over pressure, you are rewriting her story. Maybe no one ever gave her that before. Maybe every touch she's known came with expectation. Maybe she learned that love had conditions, but when you come into her world gently, with patience, with care, you begin to undo the idea that love is something she has to earn. You remind her that her softness is safe, that her surrender is sacred, that her body is not something to be conquered, but something to be cherished. And that kind of touch, it leaves a memory not just on her skin, but in her soul. There's something holy about that, something beyond words, because intimacy at this level is not about how many times she climaxes or whether she squirts or doesn't. It's about whether she felt seen, whether she felt understood, whether she felt held without having to be anything more than herself. And if you've ever seen a woman in that state, oft open, free, you know it's not just about her. It changes you too. Because in helping her feel safe, you learn what real strength is. Not in dominance, not in control, but in gentleness, in patience, in being present enough to let someone else fall apart and still feel whole. And maybe in that moment you'll feel something inside you shift too. Maybe for the first time you'll realize that real intimacy isn't about performing. It's about showing up, fully, with your heart open and your ego quiet. It's not about being perfect. It's about being honest, because what she's looking for isn't the man who knows every technique. It's the man who knows how to stay, how to breathe through the awkward parts, how to hold her hand when she doubts herself, how to stay calm when her body does something unexpected. That's what creates safety. That's what creates surrender. That's what creates love. And if you've gotten to that place, where her release is not just a physical act, but an emotional opening, don't take it for granted, honor it. Sit with her afterward, hold her longer, say less and feel more. Because the moment after is just as important as the moment before. That's when she's most raw. That's when her guard is completely down. That's when your energy becomes a blanket around her. You don't need to explain it. You don't need to fix anything. Just stay with her breath, stay with her silence, stay with her softness. That's when she knows she's truly safe, not because you said it, but because you proved it. Over time, this changes everything. It changes how she sees herself. It changes how she sees you. It changes how you both move through the world. Because intimacy like this isn't separate from the rest of life. It shapes it. You start showing up differently. You speak with more care. You listen with more depth. You stop rushing through things. You start paying attention. To her, to yourself, to life. You begin to understand that the same presence you bring to the bedroom is the presence that can heal conversations, soften arguments, and deepen love. And she feels that. She trusts it. She leans into it. And maybe you're thinking, what if I mess up? What if I do everything right and she still doesn't release? What if it doesn't happen? Let go of that. This is not about checking boxes. This is not about winning. This is about being fully present in the process. Every woman is different. Every moment is different. The goal is not to make her squirt. The goal is to make her feel safe enough to be whoever she is, however she is in that moment. That's what matters. Because when she feels free to just be, without shame, without fear, without pressure, her body will respond in the way it was designed to. And even if she doesn't release fluid, she might release something else. Fear, tension, emotion. And that, too, is beautiful. So let this be your guide. Slow down, tune in, listen more than you touch, feel more than you perform. Let her show you who she is. Let her teach you what her body says, and be humble enough to follow. Not because you're weak, but because you're strong enough to lead without needing to control. That's what real power looks like. That's what real love feels like. And when she feels that, when she truly believes that she can be all of herself with you, that's when magic happens. That's when her heart opens. That's when her soul shines. That's when her body speaks a language only you can hear. And in that sacred space, where there's no rush, no pressure, no expectation, just two people breathing, touching, feeling, you don't just make love. You create it. You build it from the ground up with trust, with care, with presence. And when that love overflows, whether in the form of a tear, a cry, a release, or a quiet moment of stillness, that's when you'll know. You didn't just learn how to touch her, you learned how to see her, how to hold her, how to meet her, and that is the beginning of everything.